hate rest days. Who's with me? Do we really need to have rest days? Or could active recovery be just as good as a complete day of rest? Well, before we get into the intricacies of what we call a rest day and how we approach it, I should probably reiterate that however you choose to take yours, then it is still a vital part of your training. Now, whether you run on a 7-day cycle, taking a rest once every 7 days or once every 10, that is entirely up to you. It doesn't matter as long as you do have that rest day. Rest is where your body has that chance to repair and recover. It's when all of that hard work in training is actually absorbed and your body has a chance to adapt and actually get stronger. Without it, you're basically wasting your time. You're eventually going to burn out, you might get injured, or at the very least, you're going to plateau in your performance. Okay, I think I've made my point. Rest days are important, although how they look is a little more fluid and it does divide opinion. A complete rest day is essential to give your body that total mental and physical break. Hang on, what if I love doing yoga and I love walking my dog? For me, that is far more relaxing. But you're still using excess energy, whereas I'm focusing on upping my glycogen stores, preparing for my next session. But don't you worry about feeling lethargic and lazy? I just feel so heavy the next day. No, I am going to be hungry for training and just desperate to nail the next week, feeling just fully recharged. Movement just feels so good. It's the best way to reduce my DOMs and it just leaves me feeling really ready to train hard tomorrow. Yeah, but what about going for a massage or putting on your recovery boots or something like that? And then you can even catch up on your admin at the same time. Anyway, how do you sleep at night? That is one of my worst nightmares. I just love combining a little bit of light activity with socializing, whether it's going for a bike ride or it's meeting a friend after going for a light swim. None of that feels like training. You are now hoping that I'm going to clarify who is right, chilled Heather or rest is overrated Heather. I have some bad news. The science is lacking. If there is any credible research comparing complete rest versus active recovery, well, I can't find it. I did find this systematic review, which I'll leave in the description below. It's looking at exercise-induced muscle damage, EIMD, and seeing which types of active recovery are most effective. However, there was no comparison with complete rest. We will delve deeper into the pros and the cons of active recovery versus complete rest at a physiological level, but I want to consider the psychological aspect, something that's often overlooked. And guess what? There is actually some science to support this theory.
I found this piece of research in the International Journal of Sports Science and Coaching, and a few points that jumped out at me. Mental rest, or a reduction in effortful thinking in general, has also been identified as an important recovery experience for athletes. Ultimately, developing self-regulation skills can benefit athletes' physical and mental recovery from training and competition, and ultimately can have positive effects on long-term health, well-being, and performance. Well, this does throw a curveball if you want to combine your rest day with a stressful day at work, but I guess it would guarantee that your brain would be far from thinking about any sport-related issues.
The prospect of mental rest might be new to you, and I'll admit that it's not something I've consciously thought about before. However, I can see the logic behind it. Now, whilst we're on the topic of psychology surrounding rest, I want to go a little bit deeper, as there is actually some evidence to support that self-compassion can have an effect on recovery. In fact, there is evidence that the fear of rest could be linked with avoidance strategies, which end up pulling people into sport in the first place. And triathlon could be seen as one of those sports that does attract those people that are looking for some sort of escape or the next big high. And link that back to rest days. Basically, a rest day is like a big void of a coping strategy for that day. Okay, I might have just opened up Pandora's box, but if any of that resonates with you, it might be worth reflecting on what role exercise plays with you and regulating your own emotions. But I am not a therapist, so I'm going to leave that one there. I will put my hand up though and say that I do miss that high that you get on a rest day, or the high you get from exercise on a rest day. So maybe I need to do a little bit of self-reflection too. Oof, we just got a bit deep there. After all that, what do we actually mean by rest? Now, unless you're a professional athlete, you're not going to spend all day sitting on the sofa with your recovery boots on, with food being brought to you whilst you work your way through a Netflix box set. In reality, you're probably going to be doing the shopping, the washing, cleaning your bike, prepping food for the week. The list goes on. You start to see the problem already. Rest is getting very close to being active recovery. And then if you commute to work, whether by bike or even walking, that is in effect active recovery. For me personally, if I'm doing the chores around the house and I've got 11 kilos of weight, aka baby Magnus, strapped to my front, then I often feel like I've done a gym session. But do not stress. There are pros and cons to both rest and active recovery. For example, the positives of complete rest: glycogen stores are easily replenished. Your sympathetic nervous system calms down. Some of the negatives: it's hard to achieve in real life. You might not sleep so well. When it comes to active recovery, it's positive that it improves circulation and therefore muscle healing. It also helps to reduce that feeling of DOMS. Yet on the negative side, it's time consuming and it can add to your overall training volume. As you can see, it's a pretty even divide, and to be honest, sitting somewhere in the middle ground is probably going to give you the best of both worlds. Now, the key things to consider are allowing your body that time to recover. It's really about winding down, both physically and mentally, and however that looks, it's up to you. If it's going for a coffee with friends, or if you'd rather go for a dip in your local pool, then it is up to you. Sleep is a really vital part. Try and prioritize that. If it means getting to bed a bit earlier, or if you can even fit a nap in, then that is great. And eating plenty of nutritious food, even more so if it's an active recovery day. You want to allow your body to heal, hence the nutritious food, but also to fully top up its glycogen stores after all that hard training you've been doing. It's also important to drink plenty of water. I mean, this can easily be overlooked on a day off training, but your body will still be needing those fluids to be replenished. Prioritise time to reduce or eliminate any niggles. If that means going to the physio or booking a massage, even doing some yoga. It might cross into active recovery, but it's still important to help your body get back and ready to train again. And also make the most of this extra time. You've taken out a couple of sessions from your day, so use it wisely to catch up on life so that when you come back to your training, you can focus fully on that. Now, it is really up to you how you use that rest day, but hopefully at the end of this video, you realise how important it is. See it as a part of the puzzle of training that helps you to get stronger and get better in the end, even if it might feel frustrating. And if you can, try not to think too much about triathlon on that day. I know some of you might find that harder than others, but there is evidence to support it, as you've seen. Anyway, enjoy your rest day, put your feet up. You might even be watching this video, but whatever you're doing, let us know what you like to do with that extra time you have in the week. Thanks for watching. Hopefully see you next time.